A lot going on, but let's start with phase one. Now it appears they are, in fact, going to sign it the way they said they would. How much do we know what's in it? Maybe I'm overly obsessed with the 86 pages and not knowing what's in the 86 pages.
Well, and presumably we will get more details, most likely next week. I mean, what we do know is that, and a very big focus for the president were these agricultural purchases, these promises to make up to $40 to $50 billion of purchases from the United States. This, of course, benefits a big, important constituency for him, the farmers. I think the math's going to be hard on those. So, I think
what people say, that they may be able to get to that level.
And I think our our commodities traders say the same thing. So that's worth watching for sure. In exchange, we're providing a little bit of relief on tariffs, from 15% rate on $110 billion of goods to 7.5%. But still, David, our tariffs will still, after this phase one, will still be on $360 billion of imports. I think that's an important thing from an economic perspective to remember, and from a markets perspective, that this is by no means a settlement. This is a reprieve, and I think arguably a fragile one at that.
Which raises a big question in my mind, at least, and we'll have to wait to find out the answer. The president today said he's going to start negotiating phase two right away, but it may be after the election before it gets done. One question in my mind is, do we have to wait for the rest of the tariffs to be relieved until after the final deal is done? Or is this something where maybe he could be ratcheting back in the meantime?
Yeah, and I think that's certainly what the Chinese want. I think the Chinese certainly are hoping that the White House will provide some more tariff relief as these negotiations continue. I'm not sure if we're optimistic about that. I think that the timing around phase two, just given the U.S. government officials and Chinese officials have been working on this now for around 2 years. So, I think morale is relatively low. I think they're exhausted. And I think, we're not optimistic that we see a phase deal before the election. Kind of, if ever. Well, we'll see. I mean, of course, phase two will presumably address the big structural sticking points that the Chinese have been very reluctant to concede on. And I'm not sure the calculus around those have changed for the Chinese.